My name is David. I'm a ventriloquist. This looks like a real dog, but I'm actually going to make him say something. So what did you do when you went to the farm? I'm just kidding. This is Blue, and this is Blue's roadmap to success. And he's a cutie, but boy, does he got a lot of energy and some good kisses. Now, a couple of minutes ago, he just went on what a lot of people refer to as the zoomies. He started doing laps in the room. Now, he likes to bark at dogs that come by. We're going to talk about this here in a sec. But if he gets the zoomies, unlike the accident that we had, if he gets the zoomies, we should immediately put him on a leash and take him for a sniff walk. We should do some tug of war, some scent games, some of the exercise things that I went over. He's saying, I've got too much energy right now. Either you can release it or I can release it. And some of it, I think, is released by him barking at the window. So I'd like the guardians, first of all, to start getting him more exercise and be proactive. Sniff walks, games of tug of war with breaks. So when his energy gets high, hold out a treat in front of his nose while he's still holding it. As soon as he lets it go, yes. And then wait for him to settle down. And when he settled down, then hold it off and offer again. So you're starting and stopping, and that's important practice. We can also do playing games of fetch. So when he is in that mood to fetch, like he was for me, fetch as you throw it. When he picks it up, you can say yes when he picks it up, but if he's pretty good, you throw it and he can kind of bring it back to you. Let's see if we can do it for here. So normally you don't want to take these things away. I would normally offer him a treat, but I don't have any with me. That's okay. Sit, fetch. I didn't have a treat there, so he didn't drop. So have a treat. Don't tell him to drop, just hold it here. When he drops, say yes and give him the treat, and then pick up the thing and say fetch as you throw it. So it becomes a game. So now you might find before a walk, he needs 12 fetches. Before guests come over, he needs 22 fetches. Before we go to puppy class, he needs 38 fetches. So you're going to ebb and flow and try out different numbers until you find the right amount where he performs well. Exercising him before a walk, before you go to puppy class, before guests come over can really set him up. Before people are walking by their dogs here can really set him up for success. So that's physical exercise, sniff walks, tug of war, fetch. You can also do mental exercise. Cookie in the corner is that exercise that we went over in puppy class that introduced the concept of go look for something. So if we do that, we can start using scent games. I'd like you to Google scent games. Look for some different games where you're hiding treats around. And eventually he comes in from a potty and you say, find it. And he's like, holy cow, there's 6 treats. And he starts sniffing around. This sniffing burns more energy than walking. Well, it burns a lot of energy. And he gets to find all these treats. Because he doesn't like to sniff on walks, I told the guardian to grab some finely shredded like Swiss cheese or feta cheese or whatever, and go ahead of yourself on the walk and go along your path and put a little bit on some grass over here, walk a couple dozen paces and put a little bit over here, lead him to those sections of cheese, and the next walk put the cheese in different sections. We want him sniffing. That's how dogs should walk and explore the world. If he's sniffing, he's not barking, he's calming himself down, he's burning more energy, and you're having a more productive walk. We could also, Googling scent games, you can also give him a lick mat, give him a chew toy. Training is a way to drain some energy, using a Kong filled with peanut butter. I'd like the guardians to get a snuffle mat, as well as a Tricky Trainer Omega treat ball, and a couple of other treat dispensing toys of different shapes and different orientations. So he's got to work for his food. And then when you have a guest, you can fill up one of those balls with some stuff. And remember, you got to nudge it for him at first, but eventually we're giving him things to do. We also, every time he needs a new toy, you should find it in the kennel. We should leave treats in the kennel every time he goes outside for a walk or for potty break. When he comes in, we want him to be part of a circuit. He comes in, he goes straight in the kennel because there's always a treat waiting for me in there. And then follow the instructions. I'm not going to go over what we went over in the video above, but make sure you leave zip tie a bully stick in the back of the kennel. He finds new treats, new toys, and things along those lines. And he needs to practice being in the kennel for times when you guys are home so that it doesn't represent a negative. We also talked about the importance of rules. The guardians have some rules here, which is good. They have some premax, essentially. He's got to sit before you open the door, sit before you put the leash on. All those things are wonderful. Keep doing those things. But also, don't let him hang out around you in the kitchen when you're preparing food. Don't allow him to hang around you guys when you're eating food. Police up the area. Don't leave stuff up here in the cubby, because he kept on going and grabbing stuff. And he steals it and he runs away because that's fun for him, because he gets his guardians to chase him. And because he's, I don't want to say naughty, because it's not a naughty thing, or a good, positive, negative thing. He just wants attention, and grabbing your stuff gives him that attention. So that's why if we get rid of all that stuff and everything he has access to is appropriate, he's not practicing doing something we don't want. I would also practice the leave it cue with him, practice it all over the place. So that, and I have a video for this. If you can't remember how to do it, let us know and we can share that video with you. The hand targeting, do that hand targeting. So when you're getting up, he likes to bite at people's feet. So if you're doing that, just do some hand targeting, or you can do some touch stick targeting. We can show you how to do that. But basically, I could bite your feet, but if I touch my nose to your hand, I get a treat. So we were giving him motivation to do a replacement behavior. Let me see. We also went over petting with a purpose and passive training. So petting with a purpose, if you want to pet him or he wants you to pet him, you tell him to sit. If he's already sitting, you tell him to sit here or to lay down. If he doesn't lay down, he doesn't get your attention. You're only going to say it once. And if he doesn't do it, and if you say sit and he just jumps up on you, lean back, disengage. Watch a little TV, read some emails, play a game, do something else. Show him that I've got something else going on. I'm not mad at you, but I'm not going to give you any attention because you didn't do what I wanted you to do. That will make him more motivated to listen to you the next time. Let me see. We also, I want Jacob to come back, one of our level 1 trainers, and work with him on the relaxation protocol because I think that would be really helpful. There's also a game that we do called the engage disengage game that might be something you might want to work on as well, because this way we can actually, it's kind of a counter conditioning game. So he sees another dog, he thinks he gets a treat. But right now I want the guardians to really focus on this stuff inside. I think a lot of it is, remember, if there are people walking the dogs at a certain time of the day, getting him the exercise ahead of time, just make sure he has 10 minutes rest, will help set him up for success. Let me see. Petting with a purpose is if you want to pet him or he wants you to pet him, you tell him to sit or lay down. Use the watchword of paycheck. If someone says paycheck to me and I'm petting a dog, I assume that I didn't ask him to do something first. I tell him to sit. When he sits, then I say my marker word and pet him. And if he doesn't sit, I lean back and play hard to get. I'm going to do something else, and the dog is going to be motivated next time to listen to me a little bit more. Yes. This is passive training, or what a lot of people call capturing, or we call it celebrating. So he came to me. Did I ask him to come? No, but I like it when he comes. That's a viable cue. So when he does stuff on his own that is related to a cue or something that you like, make sure you say your marker word the instant he does it, and then pet him. So if he looks at you, yes, pet him. If he sits, yes, pet him. If he lays down, goes to if he goes in here, just say your marker word and toss a treat. But we want to reward him for the things that he wants. So every time he picks up one of his toys, say yes. And if you see he's about to pick up that remote control, maybe you call it PlayStation or whatever it is. So you want to say the cue before he does it. Eventually you say PlayStation, he goes grabs that particular toy. Let me see. I think that's about it for the major stuff I went over. But try to find some new tricks and cues that you can teach him, because those are ways to redirect his attention. If you're the ones who are teaching him, then you have kind of an elevated status as somebody who's kind of, I would say authority figure, because the guardians here know somebody who loves Cesar Millan, and we're not fans of Cesar Millan because that's a punishment-based training. And he calls it leadership and alpha dog and all that stuff. Leadership is appropriate. We want him to see that we are providing him with a safe, secure environment so he doesn't have to bury bones or bark at everybody or be constantly nudging us or Velcro dog with us for attention. So the relaxation protocol is so great because it teaches the dog and helps condition the dog to stay on the dog bed and literally relax while things go on around him. And this is, if there's a lot of dogs out there that could use the relaxation protocol. Blue is pretty high on that list. So make sure that that he's earning all of his pets. So remember, if he gets up on the couch, and earlier he got up on the couch and the guardian was trying to get him down and Blue didn't want to get to. I know it's a pain, but one of the things you could do is, okay, you jump on the couch, I ask you to get down and you won't. Now, if there's a dog bed here, we could throw the treat there. Remember, you get the elevated dog bed with the PVC pipes. But worst case scenario, instead of asking multiple times, just get up and go into your bedroom and go lay down on your bed. So, when you get here, if you don't do what I want, I leave. That's called a negative punishment. It's something we don't like doing a ton of, but if he's not going to listen to you and it causes you to leave, well, that's the opposite of what he's trying to accomplish. Now, if we do that in concert with celebrating and rewarding the things that he does that we want, after a while, he'll start offering those behaviors because that gets him what he wants. And the thing that, quote unquote, we think of as naughty or unwanted no longer works. Now, we're in an apartment here, and there's a walkway right outside this door, and he loves to bark at this window. So I'd get some paper, just white paper. You don't have to be construction paper, because white paper will let some light in. It just acts like a filter. But I would probably do it to the top of your handle and put it on the outside of the door so he can't scratch it off. So, because every time a dog walks by and he sees it, and he runs over and barks at it, and the dog leaves, he thinks he made that dog leave by his barking. That rewards and reinforces the barking. So we block that. A lot of these things people are going to pass by. He's not even going to see it. So he's going to bark less and get into less of a habit of barking. I would probably recommend getting a long-term confinement area and setting it up in kind of the corner by your dining room table. So when you leave, instead of putting him in a kennel, you put him in there. Make sure you anchor it with a couple of, you don't have to get it's probably cost you 50, 60 bucks. Get a couple of dumbbells and anchor it in there, put it against the wall so that he can't move it around. And he should practice being in there, just like I talked about being in the kennel in the video above. He needs to practice being in there when he doesn't need to be. Same sort of thing in there. So every once in a while, just put a bully stick in there, zip it to the bottom, and he's got to hang out in there. He doesn't have to, but he hangs out in there and good positive things. That way when you go to work, we can leave him in there. It's away from the door over here so he can't see things that come by. And it gives him enough room. If he wants to walk around, he can walk around. If he wants to, he can play a little bit. That was the fire alarm, it wasn't him. He can play a little bit and have some good times. Make sure there's a lot of great toys in there. Try not to let him bring those toys out, so even more of an incentive to want to go in there. Well, this is my makeout partner, Blue, and this is Blue's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.